Hey everyone, welcome back to Revenge Served by Karma with Etta. If you're new here, this is where we share real stories about betrayal, false accusations, and how truth eventually wins. Today's story is one you won't forget. Before we dive in, quick question, where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments below. And if you enjoy stories about justice, redemption, and people who refuse to let lies define them, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Also, if this story resonates with you at any point, show some love by hitting that like button. It really helps us reach more people who need to hear these messages. Now, let's get into today's story. This is about Claire Bennett, a 42-year-old youth ministry coordinator whose entire life was destroyed in 60 seconds when a pastor's wife stood up in front of 800 people and accused her of having an affair. But what happened next? That's where things get truly unthinkable. Let's begin. My name is Claire Bennett, and I'm 42 years old. Before I tell you what happened, I need you to understand something. I never wanted to be the center of a church scandal. I never asked for any of this. But when Pastor Brandon's wife stood up in front of 800 people and called me a home wrecker, my entire life shattered in 60 seconds. Let me take you back to where it all started. It was a Tuesday morning in April 6 months ago. I was sitting in my small office at Grace Community Church in Charlotte, North Carolina, organizing the youth group budget spreadsheet. I'd been the youth ministry coordinator for 3 years. It was honest work. Good work. The kind of job where you went home knowing you'd made a difference in teenagers' lives. The church was massive. Over 2,000 members. Pastor Brandon Cole had built it from nothing over 15 years. He was 45, charismatic, and had that rare gift of making everyone feel seen. His sermons pulled people in. His smile made you believe everything would be okay. His wife, Vanessa Cole, was 43. Beautiful in that polished, intimidating way. Perfect hair, perfect clothes, perfect smile for the cameras. She ran the women's ministry and sat in the front row every Sunday, looking like she'd stepped out of a magazine. I'd worked with Pastor Brandon closely. Youth ministry required it. We'd meet twice a week to discuss programs, budgets, troubled kids who needed extra attention. Our meetings were always professional. Always in his office with the door open. Always appropriate. I'd been married to my husband, Troy Bennett, for 16 years. He worked as an electrician. We lived in a modest 3-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood. We had a 14-year-old daughter named Lily who loved dinosaurs and hated broccoli. Our life was normal, safe, predictable, until that Sunday. It was April 23rd. I remember because it was Lily's school play the next day, and she'd been practicing her lines all week. I wore a navy blue dress, nothing fancy, nothing that would draw attention. I sat in my usual spot, middle section, left side, next to Troy and Lily. The service started normally. Worship teams sang 4 songs. Announcements about the upcoming mission trip to Honduras. Then Pastor Brandon stepped up to preach. He was 20 minutes into his sermon about forgiveness when Vanessa stood up. She was sitting in her usual front row seat. She rose slowly, deliberately. The movement caught everyone's attention. Pastor Brandon stopped mid-sentence. "Vanessa," he said into the microphone, "are you okay?" She turned to face the congregation. Her face was calm. Too calm. And that's when I knew something was terribly wrong. "I need to say something," she said. Her voice was steady, clear. "I need everyone here to know the truth about what's been happening in this church." Pastor Brandon's face went pale. "Honey, maybe we should talk about this privately." "No." Vanessa's voice got louder. "These people deserve to know. They deserve to know that their pastor has been having an affair." The sanctuary went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. 800 people held their breath. My stomach dropped. I didn't know why, but I felt it. Something bad was coming. "For the past 8 months, Vanessa continued, my husband has been sleeping with someone on staff. Someone we trusted. Someone who works with our children." She turned and pointed directly at me. "Claire Bennett has been sleeping with my husband." Time stopped. Every head in that massive sanctuary turned to look at me. 800 pairs of eyes. Staring. Judging. Assuming. I couldn't breathe. My hands started shaking. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. That's not true, I heard myself say. My voice sounded small, far away. Troy grabbed my arm. Claire, what is she talking about? I didn't do anything, I whispered. Troy, I swear I didn't do anything. But he was already pulling his arm away from me, already creating distance. Pastor Brandon was trying to get control of the situation. Everyone, please, let's remain calm. Vanessa, we need to discuss this privately. Privately? Vanessa laughed. It was a harsh, bitter sound. Like you discuss things privately with her? In your office? In your car? In the hotel room on March 15th. March 15th. I tried to remember where I'd been. That was a Thursday. I'd been at the church until 7 p.m. for youth group. Then I'd gone straight home. Troy had made spaghetti for dinner. I was never in a hotel with him, I said, standing up. My legs felt weak. I've never been inappropriate with Pastor Brandon. Ever. Liar, someone shouted from the back. A woman's voice. Home wrecker, another voice called out. The sanctuary erupted. People were shouting. Some were crying. The worship team looked horrified. The elders were rushing toward the stage. Pastor Brandon held up his hands. Everyone, please. This is a house of God. Let's not make accusations without proof. I have proof, Vanessa said. She pulled out her phone and held it up. I have text messages. I have photos. I have bank records showing hotel charges. I have everything. She looked directly at me. Her eyes were cold, empty. And now everyone will know what kind of woman you really are, Claire Bennett. Troy stood up abruptly. We're leaving. He grabbed Lily's hand. She was crying, confused, scared. Daddy, what's happening? Lily asked. We're going home, Troy said. He wouldn't look at me. Troy, please. I reached for him. You know me. You know I would never do this. He pulled away. I don't know what to believe right now. They left. My husband and daughter walked out of that church without me. I stood there alone, in the middle of hundreds of people who now hated me, who now believed I was an adulteress, a home wrecker, a liar. I wanted to run. I wanted to disappear. But my legs wouldn't move. One of the elders, a man named Harold Matthews, appeared beside me. Claire, I think it's best if you leave. But I didn't do anything wrong, I said. Tears were streaming down my face now. We'll need to investigate these allegations, Harold said. His voice was kind but firm. Until we sort this out, you're suspended from all church activities. Paid leave, effective immediately. Paid leave, suspended. The words hit me like physical blows. I gathered my purse and walked down that center aisle. Every step felt like walking through fire. People whispered as I passed. Some turned away. Some glared. One woman actually spat at me. I made it to my car somehow, got inside, locked the doors, and then I completely fell apart. I sobbed until I couldn't breathe. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. I'd done nothing wrong. I'd been faithful to my husband. I'd been professional with Pastor Brandon. Always. My phone started buzzing. Text messages flooding in. I didn't want to look, but I couldn't help it. How could you do this? From my best friend, Angela. I always knew you were trash, from someone I didn't recognize. Stay away from my family, from a woman whose daughter was in youth group. Message after message. All accusing. All hateful. All believing I was guilty. I drove home in a daze. When I pulled into my driveway, Troy's truck was already there. He'd beaten me home. I walked inside. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Troy. I called out. He appeared in the hallway. His face was hard, closed off. This was my husband, the man I'd built a life with, and he was looking at me like I was a stranger. Tell me the truth, he said. Right now. Just tell me the truth. I am telling the truth, I said. I never slept with Pastor Brandon. I never had an affair. Vanessa is lying. Why would she lie about something like this? Troy asked. In front of the whole church? She had her phone, Claire. She said she has proof. I don't know why she's lying, but she is. Troy, you have to believe me. We've been together for 16 years. You know me. I thought I knew you. His voice cracked. But I don't know what to think anymore. Where's Lily? I asked. At my mother's house. I called her on the way home. She's going to stay there for a few days. My heart broke. You took our daughter away from me. I don't know what else to do, Claire. Troy ran his hands through his hair. This is crazy. This whole thing is crazy. I need time to think. Think about what? Whether your wife is a cheater. Troy, I've never even looked at another man. You're it for me. You've always been it. He didn't respond. He just walked past me and went upstairs. I stood in my living room, in my own house, and felt like a stranger. Everything was falling apart. My marriage, my job, my reputation, my life, and I had no idea why. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed next to Troy, but we might as well have been on different planets. He faced the wall. I stared at the ceiling. The space between us felt like an ocean. Around 2 a.m., I got up and went to my laptop. I had to figure out what was happening. I had to understand. I logged into my social media accounts. Big mistake. My Facebook was flooded with comments. My Instagram had hundreds of messages. Most of them were variations of the same thing. Jezebel. Homewrecker. You should be ashamed. How dare you call yourself a Christian? Someone had created a hashtag. It was already trending locally. I won't repeat it here, but it was cruel. Vicious. I closed the laptop and buried my face in my hands. This was a nightmare. This had to be a nightmare. I would wake up and everything would be normal again. But I didn't wake up because I wasn't sleeping. This was real. At 6 a.m., my phone rang. It was Harold Matthews, the church elder. Claire, we need you to come to the church for a meeting. Today at 10 a.m. Can you make it? What kind of meeting? I asked. The elders want to hear your side of things. Pastor Brandon will be there. Vanessa will be there. We're going to try to get to the bottom of this. Okay, I said. I'll be there. And Claire, you might want to bring someone with you. A friend or family member. Just for support. I hung up and looked at Troy. He was awake, listening. That was the church, I said. They want me to come in for a meeting. Are you going? He asked. Of course I'm going. I have to defend myself. I have to make them understand I didn't do this. Troy nodded slowly. Do you want me to come with you? The question hung in the air. Did you want to come? Or was he just being polite? Do you believe me? I asked him directly. He was quiet for a long moment. Too long. I want to believe you, he finally said. Want to. Not do. Want to. That was the moment I realized my marriage might not survive this. Even if I proved my innocence. Even if Vanessa's accusations were exposed as lies. The doubt was already there. The crack in our foundation. No, I said quietly. I'll go alone. I got dressed in a simple gray blouse and black pants. Professional. Conservative. I didn't wear makeup. My eyes were too swollen from crying anyway. At 9:45 a.m., I pulled into the church parking lot. There were news vans there. Local media had gotten wind of the scandal. A pastor caught in an affair was news. A youth ministry coordinator accused of seducing him was even bigger news. A reporter rushed toward me as I got out of my car. Claire Bennett, can you comment on the allegations? Did you have an affair with Pastor Brandon Cole? No comment, I said, pushing past her. Are you denying the affair? She called after me. I didn't answer. I walked into the church with cameras following me. This was my life now. A spectacle. A scandal. Harold Matthews met me at the door. Come with me. We're meeting in the conference room. I followed him down the familiar hallways. Hallways I'd walked hundreds of times. Now they felt foreign, threatening. We entered the conference room. 5 church elders sat at a long table. Pastor Brandon sat at one end. Vanessa sat at the other. A space had been left for me in the middle. I felt like I was walking into an execution. Have a seat, Claire, Harold said. I sat down. My hands were shaking. I folded them in my lap so no one would notice. Pastor Brandon looked awful. His eyes were red. His usual confident posture was gone. He looked defeated. Vanessa looked perfect. Not a hair out of place. Her makeup was flawless. She sat with her back straight, her hands folded on the table, completely calm. Thank you for coming, Claire, Harold began. As you know, serious allegations have been made against you and Pastor Brandon. We take these matters very seriously. This meeting is to hear from both of you and to examine any evidence. He turned to Vanessa. Let's start with you. You made a public accusation yesterday. Can you explain why you chose to do it that way? Vanessa's voice was steady. Because I was tired of being lied to. Tired of watching my husband destroy our family. Tired of seeing this woman act innocent when I knew the truth. What evidence do you have? Another elder asked. Vanessa pulled out her phone. Text messages between Brandon and Claire. Explicit messages. I can show you if you'd like. My heart started racing. I never sent explicit messages to Pastor Brandon. I never sent him any inappropriate messages. Liar, Vanessa said calmly. She slid her phone across the table. Harold picked it up and started reading. His face grew more and more grim. He showed the phone to the other elders. They all read in silence. Claire, Harold said, these messages are from your phone number to Brandon's phone number. They're dated over the past 8 months. They're extremely inappropriate. That's impossible, I said. Can I see them? He handed me the phone. I looked at the screen, and my blood ran cold. The messages were from my number, but I hadn't sent them. I can't wait to see you tonight, one message read. Troy suspects something. We need to be more careful, said another. I love you. I've never felt this way about anyone, read a third. Message after message. All from my number. All to Pastor Brandon's number. All saying things I'd never said. Never thought. Never would say. I didn't send these, I said. My voice was shaking. I don't know how these are from my number, but I didn't send them. Are you saying someone hacked your phone? An elder asked skeptically. I don't know, but I didn't send these messages. Vanessa smiled slightly. Of course you're going to deny it. What else can you do? What about you, Brandon? Harold turned to the pastor. What do you have to say about these messages? Pastor Brandon looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw something in his eyes. Fear, guilt, but not the guilt of a man caught cheating. I received those messages, he said slowly, but I never responded. I never encouraged them. I thought Claire had developed feelings for me, but I never acted on them. That's a lie. I stood up. I never sent those messages. And you know it. Claire, sit down, Harold said firmly. No, this is insane. Someone is setting me up. Who would do that? Vanessa asked. Who would go to this much trouble? I looked at her, really looked at her, and that's when I saw it. The tiniest flicker of satisfaction in her eyes. Just for a second. Then it was gone. You, I said quietly. You did this. The conference room went completely silent. Every elder stared at me. Vanessa's expression didn't change. She just looked at me with that same calm, perfect composure. Excuse me, she said softly. You set me up, I said. My voice was getting stronger now. The shock was wearing off, replaced by anger. You faked those text messages somehow. You're framing me. Harold held up his hand. Claire, that's a serious accusation. And accusing me of adultery in front of 800 people isn't? I shot back. She stood up in the middle of Sunday service and destroyed my life. My husband won't look at me. My daughter is at my mother-in-law's house. People are sending me death threats. And you want me to be calm? We understand you're upset, another elder said. His name was Victor Cruz. But Vanessa is Pastor Brandon's wife. What reason would she have to frame you? I don't know, I admitted. But I know I didn't send those messages. And I know I never had an affair with Pastor Brandon. I turned to look at the pastor. Tell them the truth. Tell them nothing happened between us. Brandon shifted in his seat. Nothing physical happened. But Claire, you did send those messages. I have them on my phone. I can show you the timestamps, the metadata, everything. Then someone spoofed my number, I said desperately. It's possible. I've read about it. People can make text messages look like they're coming from any number. That seems unlikely, Victor said. More unlikely than me suddenly developing feelings for a married pastor and sending explicit messages while knowing his wife might see them. I asked, that doesn't make sense. I'm not stupid. If I was having an affair, why would I text him from my own phone? That made a few of the elders pause. I could see them considering it. Vanessa leaned forward. Maybe you wanted to get caught. Maybe you wanted Brandon to leave me for you. I don't want your husband. I practically shouted. I have a husband. I have a family. Why would I risk everything for someone I work with? People make bad choices all the time, Vanessa said calmly. Especially when they're in love. I'm not in love with him. Claire, please lower your voice. Harold said. We're trying to conduct this meeting professionally. I took a deep breath. Screaming wasn't helping. I needed to think clearly. I needed to figure out what was happening. Can I see the messages again? I asked. Harold handed me Vanessa's phone. I scrolled through carefully this time. The messages started 8 months ago. Short at first. Thank you for the meeting today. I appreciate your guidance. Normal work messages. Then they gradually got more personal, more inappropriate. By month 3, they were explicitly romantic. By month 6, they were sexual. But here's what I noticed. The messages were only going one direction. From my number to Brandon's, there were no responses from him. Not one. Where are Brandon's replies? I asked. He deleted them, Vanessa said quickly. When he realized I was getting suspicious. All of them? I asked. Every single response over 8 months? That seems convenient. I panicked, Brandon said. I knew what I'd done was wrong. I knew I betrayed my wife. I deleted everything. I stared at him. He wouldn't meet my eyes now. You're lying, I said quietly. You didn't respond to these messages because you didn't receive them. Not from me anyway. Claire, I have the same messages on my phone, Brandon said. Vanessa didn't fake anything. Can I see your phone? I asked him directly. Brandon hesitated. Just for a second. But I caught it. Of course, he said. He pulled out his phone and handed it to me. I opened his messages, found my contact, and there they were. The exact same messages that were on Vanessa's phone. From my number to his number, going back 8 months. But something was wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it, but something felt off. When did you notice these messages? I asked Brandon. What do you mean? When did you first realize I was supposedly sending you inappropriate messages? What was the first one that made you uncomfortable? Brandon thought about it. About 3 months ago. You sent a message saying you couldn't stop thinking about me. I thought it was inappropriate, but I didn't want to embarrass you by bringing it up. So you just let it continue for 5 more months? I asked. You received messages saying I loved you, that I wanted to be with you, that I was lying to my husband. And you never said anything? Never told me to stop? Never reported it to the elders? Brandon's face flushed. I handled it poorly. I see that now. You didn't handle it at all, I said. Because it didn't happen. Those messages aren't real. They're right there in front of you, Vanessa said. On his phone. From your number. I looked at the phone again. And then I saw it. The thing that was bothering me. These messages, I said slowly. They're all time-stamped during the day. Between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. So, Victor asked. So I'm at work during those hours. At this church. My phone is usually in my office. Anyone could have accessed it. Your phone is password protected, isn't it? Harold asked. Yes, but I write my passwords down in my desk drawer. I always forget them. I looked around the table. How many of you know that? How many times have I asked someone to grab something from my office and told them my phone password? The elders exchanged glances. I could see them starting to doubt, starting to question. This is ridiculous, Vanessa said. Her voice had an edge now. The calmness was cracking. You're saying someone broke into your office, unlocked your phone with a password they somehow knew, and sent fake messages to my husband? For 8 months? Without you ever noticing? I'm saying it's possible, I said. More possible than me being stupid enough to text a married pastor from my own phone while sitting in an office 50 feet away from him. Maybe you like the risk, Vanessa suggested. Maybe the danger excited you. I have a 14-year-old daughter. I snapped. I don't take stupid risks that could destroy my family. Yet here we are, Vanessa said coldly. Your family destroyed. The words hit me like a slap. She was right. My family was destroyed. Whether I was guilty or innocent, the damage was done. I want to hire someone, I said. A digital forensics expert. Someone who can examine these messages and determine if they're legitimate. Harold nodded slowly. That's reasonable. We can arrange that. No, Vanessa said sharply. We don't need some expensive expert. The evidence is clear. If the evidence is so clear, then an expert will confirm it, I said. What are you afraid of? Vanessa's eyes flashed. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm tired of this woman lying and trying to manipulate everyone. Then let me prove I'm telling the truth, I challenged her. Let me bring in an expert. If the messages are real, I'll resign. I'll apologize publicly. I'll accept whatever consequences you want. But if they're fake, then we need to figure out who did this and why. The elders conferred quietly among themselves. Finally, Harold spoke. We agree. We'll hire a digital forensics expert to examine the evidence. Both phones will need to be submitted for analysis. We should have results within a week. A week? Vanessa said. That's ridiculous. This should be handled now. A week is reasonable, Harold said firmly. This is a serious matter. We need to be thorough. Vanessa stood up abruptly. This is a waste of time. I came here in good faith with evidence. Clear evidence. And instead of supporting me, you're entertaining this woman's conspiracy theories. We're trying to be fair to everyone, Victor said. Fair? Vanessa laughed bitterly. Fair to the woman who seduced my husband? Fair to the person who destroyed my marriage? Your marriage isn't destroyed, Brandon said quietly. It was the first time he'd really spoken in a while. Vanessa, nothing happened. I never touched Claire. I never encouraged her. If these messages are real, I rejected them. Our marriage is fine. Our marriage is not fine. Vanessa shouted. It hasn't been fine for years. You barely look at me. You barely touch me. You spend all your time with her. The room went silent. This wasn't about me anymore. This was something else. Something deeper. Vanessa, Brandon said carefully. Maybe we should discuss this privately. No. She slammed her hand on the table. Everyone's going to know eventually anyway. You want a divorce. You wanted one for 2 years. But you won't pull the trigger because it would damage your precious reputation. So instead, you make me look crazy. You let your little assistant send you love messages, and you pretend to be the faithful husband rejecting her advances. It's pathetic. Brandon stood up. That's enough. You're upset. Let's go home and talk about this. I'm not going anywhere with you, Vanessa said. She grabbed her purse. You want to know the truth? The real truth? I sent those messages. From Claire's phone. While she was in a youth group meeting. I took her phone from her office, sent the messages, and put it back. Over and over for 8 months. And you know why? Everyone stared at her. She was unraveling right in front of us. Because I needed everyone to see what you really are, Vanessa continued. A fake. A fraud. A man who preaches about marriage while planning to abandon his own. I couldn't let you make me look like the bad guy. So I made her the bad guy instead. She pointed at me. I'm sorry you got caught in the middle of this, Claire. I really am. But I needed to destroy Brandon's reputation before he destroyed mine. And you were convenient. The conference room erupted. Elders were shouting. Brandon was shouting. I just sat there in shock. She did it. She actually admitted it. She'd framed me. Destroyed my life. Made 800 people hate me. Made my husband doubt me. Took my daughter away from me. Because of her marriage problems. Get out, Harold said to Vanessa. His voice was shaking with rage. Get out of this church right now. Gladly, Vanessa said. She walked toward the door, then stopped and turned to me. For what it's worth, you seem like a nice person. I hope your husband forgives you. Mine certainly won't forgive me. Then she left. Just walked out like she hadn't just confessed to a crime. Like she hadn't just destroyed multiple lives. I couldn't move. Couldn't speak. Couldn't process what had just happened. Claire, Harold said gently. Are you okay? I looked at him, then at the other elders, then at Brandon. No, I said. I'm not okay. I'm not even close to okay. And then, finally, I started to cry. Not angry tears. Not frustrated tears. Just exhausted, broken, relieved tears. Because everyone finally knew the truth. But knowing the truth and fixing the damage were two very different things. The church put out a statement that afternoon. They didn't give details, just said that the allegations against me were unfounded and that I was welcomed back with full apologies. They announced that Pastor Brandon Cole was taking a leave of absence for personal reasons. They didn't mention Vanessa's confession. Not publicly anyway, but word spread fast. In a church that size, secrets don't stay secret. By evening, my phone was buzzing again. But this time, the messages were different. I'm so sorry I doubted you, from Angela, my best friend. We owe you an apology, from parents in the youth group. I can't believe what Vanessa did, from a woman who'd called me trash just yesterday. I didn't respond to any of them. I was too tired, too hurt, too numb. I drove home around 5 p.m. Troy's truck was in the driveway again. I didn't know what I was walking into. Didn't know if he'd heard the news. Didn't know if he'd believe it even if he had. I walked inside. Troy was sitting at the kitchen table. Lily's school books were spread out in front of him. He was just staring at them. "Troy," I said quietly. He looked up. His eyes were red. "I heard," he said. "Harold called me. Told me what happened. Told me what Vanessa confessed to." I nodded. Didn't trust myself to speak. "I should have believed you," Troy said. His voice cracked. "You're my wife. I've known you for 18 years, and I should have believed you from the start." "You were in shock," I said. "Everyone was." "That's no excuse." He stood up and walked toward me. "I let you go through that meeting alone. I let you walk into that church alone while reporters followed you. I let our daughter think something was wrong with you. I failed you, Claire. I completely failed you." He pulled me into his arms, and I broke. I sobbed into his chest like a child. All the fear, all the pain, all the humiliation poured out of me. "I'm so sorry," Troy kept saying. "I'm so sorry." We stood there in our kitchen, holding each other, trying to put back together what Vanessa had torn apart. "Where's Lily?" I finally asked. "Still at my mom's. I wanted to talk to you first. Make sure we were okay before we brought her home." "Are we okay?" I asked. The question I was too scared to ask earlier. Troy pulled back and looked at me. Really looked at me. "I don't know," he said honestly. "I want us to be. But Claire, I doubted you. I pulled away from you when you needed me most. That's going to take time to fix." "I understand," I said. And I did. Trust, once broken, doesn't heal overnight. Even when the break wasn't your fault. "We should probably talk to someone," Troy said. "A counselor. A therapist. Someone who can help us work through this." I nodded. "Okay. Yes. We should do that." "I'll call my mom and tell her to bring Lily home," Troy said. "She needs to be here. She needs to see that her parents are okay." "Are we going to tell her what happened?" I asked. "Not all of it. She's 14, but she doesn't need to know all the details about affairs and frame jobs. We'll just tell her there was a misunderstanding at church and it's been resolved." Lily came home an hour later. She ran straight to me and wrapped her arms around me. "Mom, I missed you." "I missed you too, baby girl," I said, hugging her tight. "Grandma said you had to work late," Lily said. "Did you work late?" "Something like that," I said. "But I'm home now." "Can we have pizza for dinner?" she asked. I laughed. It felt good to laugh. "Yeah, we can have pizza." That night felt almost normal. We ordered pizza, watched a movie, put Lily to bed at her usual time. Troy and I sat on the couch afterward, not really watching TV, just existing in the same space. "What happens now?" Troy asked. "I don't know," I said. "Harold said I can come back to work whenever I'm ready. But I don't know if I want to." "Why not?" "Because everyone saw what happened, Troy. Everyone heard Vanessa accuse me. Yes, they know the truth now. But that moment is burned into their brains. Every time someone looks at me, they'll remember standing in the sanctuary while she called me a home wrecker." "People will forget eventually," Troy said. "Will they?" I asked. "Or will there always be a small part of them that wonders if maybe there was some truth to it? Maybe something did happen and Vanessa just couldn't prove it. Maybe I'm not as innocent as I claim." Troy was quiet. He knew I was right. Accusations stick, even when they're proven false. Especially accusations about sex. "What do you want to do?" he asked. "I want to figure out why Vanessa did this," I said. "I want to understand what was so broken in her marriage that she thought destroying me was the answer." "Does it matter?" Troy asked. She confessed. "It's over." "It's not over," I said. "Not for me. She took something from me, Troy. She took my reputation, my sense of safety. She made me doubt everything. I need to understand why." The next morning, I did something probably stupid. I drove to Vanessa Cole's house. It was a beautiful home. 2-story colonial in a nice neighborhood. Perfect lawn. Perfect flowers. Perfect exterior hiding a deeply damaged interior. I rang the doorbell. Waited. Almost turned around and left. Then the door opened. Vanessa stood there in yoga pants and a t-shirt. No makeup. Hair in a messy bun. She looked small, human, broken. Claire, she said. Not surprised. Just tired. Can we talk? I asked. She stepped aside without a word. I walked into her home. It was as perfect inside as outside, decorated like a magazine. Everything in its place. We sat in her living room. Cream-colored couch. Glass coffee table. Fresh flowers in a vase. Why are you here? Vanessa asked. I need to understand, I said. Why me? Why did you choose me to frame? Vanessa laughed bitterly. You really don't know. No, I don't. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she said, because Brandon was actually falling for you. My stomach dropped. What? Not you specifically, Vanessa clarified, but the idea of you. The way you were so good at your job. So patient with the kids. So genuinely kind. He'd come home and talk about you. About how dedicated you were. How caring. How real. She picked at a thread on the couch. He never talked about me that way anymore. He looked at me like I was a stranger. Someone he was obligated to live with, but didn't actually like. So you decided to destroy me? I asked. I decided to destroy his fantasy, Vanessa said. He thought you were perfect. I needed everyone to see you weren't. That you were just another woman who'd ruin his life if he left me for her. He wasn't going to leave you for me, I said. There was nothing between us. Not yet, Vanessa said. But there would have been eventually. I've been married to Brandon for 18 years, Claire. I know how he operates. He gets bored. He looks for something new. Something shiny. And you were shiny. So you made me look like the villain. Yes. Vanessa didn't apologize. Didn't try to justify it. Just admitted it. Do you understand what you did to my life? I asked. My voice was shaking. My husband doubted me. My daughter was taken away from me. People sent me death threats. I lost everything in 60 seconds because you stood up in that church and lied. I know, Vanessa said quietly. And you don't care. I didn't say that. She looked at me. I do care. But caring doesn't change anything. I was desperate. Desperate people do terrible things. You could have just divorced him, I said. If your marriage was that bad, you could have left. Vanessa laughed again. That same bitter sound. And give up being the pastor's wife? Give up the respect, the status, the financial security? You don't understand what it's like, Claire. Being married to a pastor isn't like being married to a regular person. You're always on display, always judged, always expected to be perfect. She stood up and walked to the window. I gave up my entire identity to be Brandon Cole's wife. I don't even know who I am anymore without that title. And the thought of him taking it away from me, of him making me look like the failure while he found someone new, I couldn't let that happen. So you made me pay for your marriage problems. Yes. She turned to face me. And I'm not sorry. I should be. I know I should be. But I'm not. Because at least now everyone sees Brandon for what he really is. A man who can't commit. A man who's always looking for the next thing. He didn't do anything wrong, I pointed out. According to your own confession, he never encouraged those messages. He never acted on them. Because they weren't real, Vanessa said. But if they had been, if you had actually sent those messages, he would have responded. He would have met you in that hotel room. He would have left me without a second thought. I stared at her. You're insane. Maybe, Vanessa said. But I'm also right. I stood up. I came here hoping to understand. Hoping to find some way to make peace with what you did. But I can't. You're not sorry. You don't even see me as a real person. I was just a tool you used to hurt your husband. That's not entirely true, Vanessa said. I do see you as a person. I see you as a good person who got caught in a bad situation. But Claire, understand something. In a marriage this broken, there's no such thing as innocent bystanders. Everyone gets hurt. Everyone pays a price. I didn't agree to pay your price, I said. No one ever does. I walked to the door. Stopped. Turned back. What happens now? I asked. With you and Brandon? We're getting divorced, Vanessa said. It'll be announced next week. Brandon will step down as pastor. The church will move on. Life will continue. And what about me? Does my life just continue too? Do I just forget this happened? Vanessa's expression softened slightly. No, you won't forget. None of us will. But you'll move forward. You'll heal. You're strong enough to do that. Stronger than I ever was. I left without another word. Drove home with my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. Troy was in the garage when I got home, working on something. He looked up when I walked in. Where were you? He asked. Vanessa's house, I said. His eyes widened. Why? Because I needed to know why she did it. I needed to understand. And do you understand? I thought about Vanessa's words, about desperation and broken marriages and people paying prices they never agreed to pay. Yeah, I said. I understand. I don't forgive her, but I understand. Troy put down his tools and walked over to me. Are you okay? No, I said honestly, but I will be. He hugged me. We stood there in the garage, holding each other, trying to figure out how to move forward from something that should never have happened in the first place. That night, I couldn't sleep again. I kept thinking about everything. About Vanessa's confession. About the messages she'd sent from my phone. About how easily a life can be destroyed by lies. Around midnight, I got up and went to my computer. I needed to do something. I needed to take back some control. I opened my social media accounts, the ones that had been flooded with hate just days ago, and I posted something. My name is Claire Bennett. A few days ago, I was publicly accused of having an affair with Pastor Brandon Cole. I'm here to tell you that accusation was false. It has been proven false. The person who made the accusation has confessed to fabricating evidence. I am innocent. But more importantly, I am still standing. To everyone who supported me during this nightmare, thank you. To everyone who attacked me without knowing the truth, I forgive you. Lies spread fast, but truth eventually catches up. I hope you'll remember that the next time you see someone accused of something. Hashtag truth matters, hashtag false accusations. I hit post, watched as likes and comments started flooding in. Support. Apologies. People sharing their own stories of false accusations. Troy appeared in the doorway. What are you doing? Taking back my voice, I said. He read the post over my shoulder. That's brave. No, I said. It's necessary. Vanessa tried to silence me. Tried to make me disappear. I'm not going to let her. The post went viral overnight. Local news picked it up. Then state news. By the next morning, I had interview requests from national outlets. Everyone wanted to hear from the woman who'd been falsely accused by a pastor's wife. I declined most of them, but I did agree to one interview with a local reporter, a woman named Rebecca Torres who'd covered the story from the beginning. We met at a coffee shop. She brought a camera crew, but I asked them to stay outside. This wasn't going to be a spectacle. It was going to be a conversation. Thank you for agreeing to talk to me, Rebecca said. I know this has been incredibly difficult. It has, I said, but I think it's important that people hear the truth. Not just about me, but about what false accusations do to people. Walk me through what happened, Rebecca said, from your perspective. So I did. I told her everything. The Sunday morning accusation, the meeting with the elders, Troy's doubt, Lily being taken to her grandmother's, the hateful messages, Vanessa's confession, all of it. Rebecca listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, "What do you want people to take away from this?" That words matter, I said. Vanessa stood up in front of 800 people and destroyed my reputation in 60 seconds. It took 3 days to prove she was lying, but the damage was immediate. People believed her instantly. Why? Because accusations about sex are powerful. They trigger something primal in people. They make us judge first and think later. Do you think Vanessa will face consequences? Rebecca asked. I don't know, I said. She confessed to the church elders. But I don't know if that confession is enough to press charges. And honestly, I don't know if I want to put my family through a legal battle. So she might get away with it? I thought about that. In the legal sense, maybe. But she's losing her marriage, her reputation, her place in the church. I think she's paying a price. Just not the one I would choose. The interview aired that evening. I watched it with Troy and Lily. When it was over, Lily said, "Mom, you were on TV." I was, I said. Does that mean you're famous? She asked. No, baby. It just means I had something important to say. What did you say? That telling the truth matters, even when it's hard. Lily nodded seriously. My English teacher says that too. Your teacher is a smart person, I said. The response to the interview was overwhelming. Messages of support poured in from all over the country. People sharing their own stories. People thanking me for speaking out. People who understood what it felt like to be falsely accused. But there were also negative responses. People who thought I was lying. People who believed Vanessa's original accusation regardless of the evidence. People who said I must have done something to deserve what happened. Those messages hurt. But they also prove my point. Once an accusation is made, some people will always believe it, no matter what proof exists to the contrary. A week after the interview, Harold Matthews called me. Claire, the church board has been discussing the situation. We want to formally apologize to you and your family. We'd like to do it this Sunday, during the service, if you're willing to be there. I hesitated. The thought of walking back into that sanctuary made my stomach turn. Will Brandon be there? I asked. No. He's officially resigned. He won't be coming back. What about Vanessa? She's been formally removed from all church activities. She's not welcome back. Okay, I said. I'll be there. Sunday morning arrived. I dressed carefully. Simple dress. Hair pulled back. Minimal makeup. I looked like myself. Not trying to prove anything. Just being who I'd always been. Troy held my hand as we walked into the church. Lily held my other hand. We were a family. United. Strong. People stared as we walked in. But this time, the stares felt different. Sympathetic. Apologetic. Sorry. We sat in our usual spot. Middle section. Left side. The service started. New worship leader. New sermon. Everything was the same and completely different. Then Harold stood up. Before we close this morning, the board has asked me to address something. 2 weeks ago, a member of our congregation made serious accusations against another member. Those accusations were false. They were proven false, and they caused immeasurable harm. He looked directly at me. Claire Bennett, on behalf of Grace Community Church, we owe you and your family a profound apology. What happened to you should never have happened. We failed to protect you. We failed to investigate properly before allowing public accusations. We failed in our responsibility as church leaders. The sanctuary was completely silent. We are implementing new policies to ensure this never happens again. All future accusations will be investigated privately before any public statements are made. We are also providing counseling services to anyone affected by these events. He paused. Claire, if you're willing, we would like you to return to your position as youth ministry coordinator. We understand if you need more time, or if you choose not to return at all. Whatever you decide, we will respect it. I stood up. My legs felt shaky, but I stood. Thank you, I said. My voice carried through the sanctuary. I appreciate the apology. I appreciate the new policies. And I need time to decide about my position. This has been traumatic for me and my family. We need time to heal. Harold nodded. Take all the time you need. As the service ended, people approached me, one by one, apologizing, crying, hugging me. It was overwhelming and exhausting and necessary. Angela found me in the crowd. I'm so sorry, Claire. I should have known better. I should have believed you immediately. It's okay, I said. And I meant it. Angela had been my friend for years. One moment of doubt didn't erase that. It's not okay, she said. But thank you for saying that. We left after an hour. I was emotionally drained. Troy drove us home in silence. Lily had dozed off in the back seat. Are you going to go back? Troy asked as we pulled into the driveway. To work? I asked. Yeah. I thought about it. I don't know. Part of me wants to. Part of me never wants to set foot in that building again. Whatever you decide, I support you, Troy said. That night, after Lily was in bed, Troy and I sat on the back porch. The air was warm. Crickets chirped. Everything felt peaceful. I scheduled an appointment with a marriage counselor, Troy said. For both of us. Next Thursday at 6 p.m. Okay, I said. That's good. We're going to get through this, Troy said. It sounded like he was trying to convince himself as much as me. Yeah, I agreed. We are. But as I sat there in the darkness, I couldn't shake the feeling that something fundamental had changed. Vanessa had taken something from us. From me. From my marriage. From my faith community. She'd taken my innocence. Not my physical innocence. My belief that good people doing good work would be protected. My trust that church would be a safe place. My certainty that truth would prevail quickly. All of that was gone. And I didn't know if I'd ever get it back. 2 weeks after the church apology, I still hadn't decided about returning to work. The youth group had continued meeting with the temporary coordinator. Harold called every few days to check in, never pressuring, just making sure I knew the position was waiting if I wanted it. But something else was happening. Something I didn't expect. People were reaching out to me, not just from Charlotte, from all over the country. Women who'd been falsely accused of affairs. Men who'd been accused of harassment without evidence. People whose lives had been destroyed by lies. They all wanted to know the same thing. How did you survive? How did you move forward? How did you trust again? I didn't have good answers. I was still figuring it out myself. But I started responding anyway, sharing my story, offering what little wisdom I'd gained. One message stood out. It was from a woman named Kelly in Oregon. My best friend's husband accused me of trying to seduce him. He showed his wife text messages that looked like they came from my phone. She believed him. She ended our friendship. She told everyone in our church that I was a predator. My husband left me. I lost custody of my kids. That was 3 years ago. I've been trying to prove my innocence ever since. Your story gives me hope. Can we talk? I called her that evening. We talked for 2 hours. Her situation was eerily similar to mine. Fake messages, public accusation, destroyed reputation. But unlike me, Kelly had never gotten a confession. Her accuser never admitted to lying. She was still fighting. How did you get Vanessa to confess? Kelly asked. I didn't, I said honestly. She confessed on her own. During a meeting with the church elders, she just broke down and admitted everything. I've been begging my accuser to tell the truth for 3 years, Kelly said. Her voice cracked. He won't. His wife believes him completely. And I have no way to prove those messages are fake. Have you hired a forensic expert? I asked. I can't afford it. I lost my job. Lost my house. I'm living with my sister now. Every penny I have goes to lawyer fees, trying to get visitation with my kids. My heart broke for her. Kelly, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, she said. I just wanted you to know that what happened to you happens to other people too. And most of us don't get lucky enough to have our accusers confess. After we hung up, I sat with Troy on the couch and told him about the call. There are so many people going through this, I said. People whose lives are destroyed by false accusations. And they have no recourse, no way to prove their innocence. What do you want to do about it? Troy asked. I don't know, I said, but I feel like I should do something. The next morning, I called Harold Matthews. Harold, I've been thinking about what happened to me, about the systems that failed, about how many other people are probably going through similar things. Okay, Harold said carefully. I want to create something, a support group maybe, or a resource center. For people who've been falsely accused. Help them navigate the legal system. Connect them with forensic experts. Provide counseling. Something. Harold was quiet for a moment. That's a big undertaking, Claire. I know, but I have a platform now. People are listening to me. I could help. What about your position here? At the church? I took a breath. I don't think I can come back, Harold. Not as youth ministry coordinator. Every time I walk through those doors, I remember standing in that sanctuary while Vanessa destroyed me. I can't work there anymore. I understand, Harold said, and I respect that decision. But I continued, if the church would support this new project, I'd love to work with you in that capacity. Maybe the church could provide space for meetings or fund some of the resources. It could be a ministry, helping people who've been falsely accused. Let me talk to the board, Harold said. But Claire, I think this is a wonderful idea. 3 weeks later, the board approved the project. They provided a meeting room at the church for support groups. They allocated funds to help people hire forensic experts. They connected me with lawyers who were willing to provide pro bono consultations. We called it Truth Matters Ministry. The name came from my social media post, the one where I'd taken back my voice. Our first meeting was on a Thursday night. I didn't know if anyone would show up. Maybe I was the only person in Charlotte who'd been falsely accused. Maybe this was all for nothing. But by 7 p.m., 12 people filled the room. 8 women. 4 men. All with similar stories. All carrying the weight of accusations they couldn't disprove. "Thank you for coming," I said. My voice shook. Public speaking had never been my strength. I'm Claire Bennett. And 6 weeks ago, I was accused of having an affair with my pastor. The accusation was made publicly, in front of 800 people, and it was completely false. I told them my story, the whole thing, Vanessa's accusation, the fake messages, the meeting with the elders, the confession, the aftermath. When I finished, a woman in her 40s raised her hand. "You said she confessed. How did you make that happen?" "I didn't," I said. "She confessed on her own." But I understand that's not typical. Most accusers don't admit they're lying. "So what do we do?" a man asked. "How do we prove our innocence when there's no confession?" "We fight," I said. "We document everything. We hire experts when we can afford them. We support each other. We refuse to let false accusations define us." "That sounds nice," another woman said bitterly. "But false accusations already have defined me. I lost my teaching job. My teaching license was revoked. I can't work with kids anymore. All because a parent accused me of inappropriate contact with their child. It was investigated. There was no evidence. But the accusation alone was enough to end my career." The room fell silent. Everyone understood. The accusation was the punishment. Whether it was proven true or not almost didn't matter. "You're right," I said. "Accusations do define us. They change our lives forever. But we get to choose how. We can let them destroy us completely. Or we can let them make us stronger. Make us advocates. Make us people who fight for others going through the same thing." "That's easy to say when your accuser confessed," the teaching woman said. "When everyone knows you're innocent. Some of us will never have that." "You're absolutely right," I admitted. "And I don't have all the answers. But maybe together we can figure some things out. Maybe we can share resources. Support each other. Make sure no one faces this alone." By the end of the meeting, we'd exchanged phone numbers, created a group chat, made plans to meet again in 2 weeks. It wasn't much, but it was something. Troy picked me up afterward. "How'd it go?" he asked. "Hard," I said. Listening to their stories was really hard. Some of them have been fighting for years. Some of them have lost everything. "But you're helping them," Troy said. "Am I?" I asked. "Or am I just giving them false hope?" "You're giving them community," Troy said. "That matters." Our marriage counseling sessions were helping. Slowly, the counselor, a woman named Dr. Patricia Green, had us working through trust exercises, communication strategies, ways to rebuild what had been damaged. "Trust is like a bridge," Dr. Green said during one session. "When it's damaged, you can't just ignore the damage and keep walking across. You have to stop, assess, repair, rebuild. Only then can you cross safely again." "How long does that take?" Troy asked. "As long as it takes," Dr. Green said. "There's no timeline for healing." Troy was trying. I could see it. He was more attentive, more present, more willing to talk about his feelings. But there was still a distance between us, a carefulness that hadn't been there before. One night, after another counseling session, we were lying in bed, not touching, just lying there in the darkness. "Can I ask you something?" Troy said. "Of course. Are you angry at me for doubting you?" I thought about it, really thought about it. "Yes," I said honestly. "I'm angry, but I'm also trying to understand. You were in an impossible situation. Everyone was." "I should have known better," Troy said. "I should have believed you without question." "Why?" I asked. "Because I'm your wife? Because we've been together for 16 years? That's not how accusations work, Troy. They plant doubt. That's their purpose. Vanessa knew exactly what she was doing when she stood up in that church. So you're saying it's okay that I doubted you?" "No, I'm saying it's human, and I'm trying to forgive you for it." "Trying," Troy repeated. "Not succeeding?" "Not yet," I admitted, "but I'm working on it." He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "I don't know how to fix this, Claire. I don't know how to make you trust me again. The same way I'm trying to trust you, I said. One day at a time. One choice at a time. One conversation at a time. What if it's not enough, he asked. What if we can't get back to where we were? Then we build something new, I said. We can't go back to who we were before Vanessa's accusation. Those people don't exist anymore. But maybe we can become new people. Better people. Stronger people. I miss the old US, Troy said quietly. Me too. The Truth Matters ministry grew faster than I expected. Word spread online. People started showing up from other cities, other states, all carrying the same burden, all looking for hope. We added more meeting times, started a hotline, created a website with resources, connected with forensic experts who offered discounted rates, partnered with lawyers willing to take pro bono cases. 6 months after the ministry started, we'd helped over 200 people. Some got confessions from their accusers. Some got exonerated through forensic evidence. Some just found community and support. Not everyone got a happy ending. Kelly from Oregon never got her accuser to confess. She never regained custody of her kids. But she joined our support group, started volunteering, helped other people navigate the system she'd been stuck in. If I can't get justice for myself, she told me, at least I can help someone else get it. Brandon Cole filed for divorce 3 months after his resignation. Vanessa didn't contest it. The divorce was finalized quickly and quietly. No custody issues since they had no children. No property disputes since everything was documented clearly. Brandon left Charlotte, moved to another state, started over. I heard through the grapevine that he was working in construction, not preaching, not leading, just working with his hands and trying to rebuild his life. Vanessa stayed in Charlotte. She got a job at a real estate office, kept a low profile. I saw her once at the grocery store. We made eye contact. She looked away quickly, pushed her cart in the opposite direction. I didn't chase her, didn't confront her, just watched her go. She was living with the consequences of her choices. That was punishment enough. Angela and I slowly rebuilt our friendship. It took time. The moment when she doubted me had created a crack. But we worked through it. Talked about it honestly. Acknowledged that even good friends sometimes fail each other. I should have known better, she said one day over coffee. You're one of the best people I know. I should have trusted that. Fear makes people irrational, I said. You were scared. Everyone was. That's not an excuse. No, I agreed. But it's an explanation. Grace Community Church hired a new senior pastor, a woman named Dr. Ruth Anderson. She was 55, experienced, and came with strong recommendations. Her first sermon was about truth, grace, and second chances. This church has been through a difficult season, she said. We've seen how quickly lies can spread, how deeply accusations can wound, how easy it is to judge before we have all the facts. Moving forward, we commit to being a community that seeks truth first. That extends grace always, and that offers second chances to those who need them. I attended that service, sat in my old spot with Troy and Lily. It felt different, better, like maybe the church was actually learning from what happened. Lily was doing well. She'd had some nightmares after the incident, some confusion about why people had been mean to her mom. But with counseling and time, she was healing. Kids are resilient that way. Mom, she said one day, my English teacher says everyone makes mistakes. Is that true? Yes, baby. Everyone makes mistakes. Even grown-ups? Especially grown-ups. What mistake did that lady make? The one who said mean things about you. I thought about how to answer. She was hurting, and instead of dealing with her hurt in a healthy way, she tried to hurt someone else. That was her mistake. Did you forgive her? Lily asked. I'm working on it, I said honestly. My teacher says we should always forgive people. Your teacher is right. But forgiveness takes time, Lily. Sometimes a long time. Okay, Lily said. Then she went back to her homework. Crisis resolved in her 14-year-old mind. A year after Vanessa's accusation, Troy and I were different people. Our marriage was different. Not worse. Not better. Just different. We'd learned things about each other. Hard things. Troy learned he was capable of doubt. I learned I was capable of holding grudges. We both learned that love alone isn't always enough. Sometimes you need courage. and commitment, and a willingness to keep choosing each other even when it's hard. Do you still love me? I asked him one night. Yes, he said without hesitation. Do you still love me? Yes, I said. But sometimes love isn't the question. Sometimes the question is, are we still good for each other? And Troy asked, are we? I think so, I said. I think we're learning to be good for each other again. It wasn't a fairy tale answer, but it was honest. The Truth Matters ministry became my life's work. I never went back to youth ministry. The church understood. They supported my new calling, even helped fund it. People continued to reach out. Stories continued to pour in. False accusations of affairs, harassment, abuse, theft, violence, every kind of lie you could imagine. And each one destroyed lives in its wake. I couldn't save everyone, couldn't fix everything, but I could listen, could offer resources, could provide community, could remind people that accusations don't define truth. Evidence does. Time does. Character does. 2 years after everything happened, I received a letter. No return address, just my name and address written in careful handwriting. I opened it carefully. Inside was a single page. Claire, I hope this letter finds you well. I've been watching from a distance as you built Truth Matters ministry. I see the lives you're changing, the people you're helping. I want you to know that what I did to you was wrong. Inexcusably wrong. I destroyed your life to save my own reputation. I used you as a weapon against my husband. I made you pay for his sins. There's no apology that can undo that damage. No words that can give you back what I took. But I want you to know that I see what you've become. You took the worst thing that ever happened to you and turned it into something that helps others. That's more than I ever could have done. I don't ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know I'm sorry. I'm truly, deeply sorry. Vanessa. I read the letter 3 times. Felt nothing. Then everything. Then nothing again. Troy found me sitting at the kitchen table, staring at the paper. What's wrong? He asked. I handed him the letter. Let him read it. How do you feel? He asked when he finished. I don't know, I said honestly. Part of me wants to crumple it up and throw it away. Part of me wants to frame it. Part of me wants to write back and tell her she's right. She doesn't deserve forgiveness. But, Troy prompted, but part of me is grateful she wrote it. Grateful she acknowledges what she did. Grateful she sees what came from it. Are you going to respond? I thought about it. No, I don't think so. This isn't about her anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. This is about me. About the life I'm building. The people I'm helping. She played her part in my story, but she's not the main character. Troy smiled. When did you get so wise? When I had to, I said. That's the thing about betrayal. About false accusations. About having your life destroyed by someone else's lies. It either breaks you or remakes you. There's no middle ground. Vanessa tried to break me. She stood in front of 800 people and tried to erase everything I'd built. My reputation, my marriage, my faith, my sense of self. She failed. Not because I'm special. Not because I'm stronger than other people. But because I refused to let her lies become my truth. I refused to let her actions define my worth. I refused to become the person she accused me of being. Instead, I became someone new. Someone who fights for people who can't fight for themselves. Someone who understands that accusations are just words until they're proven. Someone who knows that truth matters more than reputation. Looking back at my own story, I see clearly now what I couldn't see then. False accusations aren't just about the lies. They're about power. Vanessa felt powerless in her marriage. So she took power by destroying me. She made me pay for her pain. But here's what she didn't understand. She didn't realize that giving someone that kind of power actually makes you stronger. Because once you survive someone's worst attack, once you rebuild from the ashes of their lies, you become unshakable. That's what happened to me. Vanessa's accusation didn't destroy me. It transformed me. 3 years after that Sunday morning, I stood in front of a packed auditorium at a conference on false accusations. 500 people filled the seats. Lawyers, counselors, victims, advocates, all gathered to discuss how to combat a system that often convicts people in the court of public opinion before any evidence is presented. I'd been invited to speak, to share my story, to offer hope. My name is Claire Bennett, I began. And 3 years ago, I was publicly accused of having an affair with my pastor. The accusation was false. It was proven false. My accuser eventually confessed to fabricating everything. But by then, the damage was done. My reputation was destroyed. My marriage was damaged. My sense of safety was shattered. And I learned something important. Justice isn't the same as restoration. I paused, looking out at the faces in the crowd. So many carried the same weight I'd carried. The weight of being falsely accused and never fully vindicated. Vanessa Cole confessed to her lies. That makes me one of the lucky ones. Most people never get that confession. Most people spend years, decades, even lifetimes trying to prove their innocence. And society tells them they shouldn't have to. Innocent until proven guilty, right? But that's not how it works in reality. In reality, accusations are enough. Especially accusations about sex, about inappropriate conduct, about moral failures. A woman in the front row wiped tears from her eyes. I recognized that look. The look of someone still fighting, still trying to prove something that should never have needed proving. Truth Matters Ministry was born from my experience. We've helped over 800 people in the past 3 years. We've connected victims with forensic experts. We've provided legal support. We've offered counseling. But more than anything, we've offered community. Because when you're falsely accused, you lose more than your reputation. You lose your trust in humanity. Your belief that good people will see the truth. Your certainty that justice will prevail. We can't give those things back. But we can walk beside you while you rebuild them. After my speech, people lined up to talk to me, to share their stories, to ask for help. One man had been accused of embezzling from his company. The charges were dropped when the real thief was caught. But he'd already lost his job, his savings, and his will to work in finance again. How do you move forward? He asked me. How do you trust again after something like this? Slowly, I said honestly, and with help. You can't do it alone. A woman approached next. Early 40s, professional clothes, exhausted eyes. I was accused of having an affair with my boss. His wife found text messages on his phone. Explicit messages that supposedly came from me. But I never sent them. He was setting me up because I'd rejected his advances. He wanted to destroy my credibility before I could report him. Did you report him? I asked. I tried. HR investigated. Found no evidence. But the accusation stuck. I had to leave my job. Had to move to a new city. Start over completely. That was 2 years ago, and I'm still looking over my shoulder. Still waiting for someone from my old life to recognize me and remember the rumors. I handed her my card. Come to our next support group meeting. It's in Charlotte, but we have chapters in other cities too. And if there's not one near you, we can help you start one. She took the card with shaking hands. Thank you. I felt so alone. You're not alone, I said. None of us are. That's the point. After the conference, I drove home. For hours on the highway, processing everything I'd heard. Every story was unique, but they all shared common threads. Accusations made publicly. Evidence presented selectively. Doubt planted immediately. Lives destroyed quickly. Justice arriving slowly, if at all. Troy was waiting when I got home. He'd made dinner. Lily was at a friend's house for a sleepover. How was the conference? He asked. Heavy, I said. But good. Important. We ate in comfortable silence. This was our new normal. Quiet dinners. Honest conversations. A relationship rebuilt on different foundations than before. I got a job offer today, Troy said suddenly. I looked up. Really? Where? Denver. Big electrical contracting firm. They want me to manage their residential division. It's a significant promotion. Good money. My stomach dropped. Denver? That's across the country. I know. Troy set down his fork. I told them I needed to talk to you first. This isn't just my decision. When would it start? 2 months. They'd pay for relocation. Help us find a house. Lily could start at a new school in the fall. I sat back in my chair. Denver. A fresh start. A place where no one knew our story. where we could just be a normal family, where I wouldn't be that woman who was falsely accused. It was tempting. So tempting. What about Truth Matters? I asked. I can't run it from Denver. You could, Troy said carefully. Most of your work is online now anyway. You travel for conferences. The support groups have local leaders. You could still do it, just from a different location. He was right. Technically, I could run the ministry from anywhere. But Charlotte was home. This was where everything happened, where I'd fought my battle and won. Leaving felt like running away. I need to think about it, I said. Of course. No pressure. I haven't given them an answer yet. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Denver, about starting over, about whether that was healing or hiding. Around 2 a.m., I went to my computer and pulled up the Truth Matters Ministry website. Read through some of the testimonials people had posted. This ministry saved my life. I finally found people who understood. Claire gave me hope when I had none left. I thought about Kelly in Oregon, about the teaching woman who'd lost her career, about the man at the conference who'd lost his will to work, about all the people still fighting, still struggling, still needing support. Could I really leave that? But then I thought about Lily, about giving her a fresh start, about not being the daughter of that woman, about just being a normal kid in a normal family. And I thought about Troy, about how hard he'd worked to rebuild our marriage, about the counseling sessions and the tough conversations and the slow, painful process of learning to trust again. He deserved a fresh start too. By morning, I still hadn't decided, but I knew I needed to have honest conversations. With Troy, with the Truth Matters leadership team, with myself. I called Harold Matthews first. He'd been my supporter from the beginning, my advocate when everything fell apart. Harold, I need advice. What's going on, Claire? I explained about Troy's job offer, about Denver, about my conflict between staying and leaving. Harold was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Can I be honest with you? Please. You've done incredible work here. World-changing work. But Claire, you've also sacrificed a lot. Your energy, your time, your peace of mind. Maybe a fresh start is exactly what you and your family need. But what about the ministry?" I asked. The ministry will continue. We have strong leadership, multiple chapters, resources in place. Yes, you're the founder. Yes, you're the face of it. But it's bigger than you now. That was always the goal, wasn't it? To build something that could help people long after you're gone. He was right. The ministry was sustainable now. It didn't depend on me being in Charlotte. What if people think I'm abandoning them? I asked. The people you've helped know the truth, Harold said. They know you gave everything to build this. If you need to step back and focus on your family, they'll understand. And Claire, you've earned the right to choose yourself. Those words hit me hard. Choose yourself. I'd spent 3 years choosing other people, helping them rebuild, supporting them through their battles. Maybe it was time to focus on my own healing. I talked to Troy that evening. Tell them yes. Let's go to Denver. His face lit up. Really? You're sure? I'm not sure of anything, I said honestly. But I think we need this. All of us. A fresh start. A place where we're not defined by what happened. What about the ministry? I'll transition leadership. Stay involved remotely. But Harold's right. It's time for me to step back and focus on us. On our family. On healing. Troy pulled me into a hug. Thank you. I know this isn't easy. None of this has been easy, I said. But that doesn't mean it's not right. We told Lily the next day. She was upset at first. Didn't want to leave her school, her friends, her life in Charlotte. But honey, I explained, sometimes families need new adventures. Denver has mountains. Real mountains you can climb. And there's snow in winter. You've always wanted to see real snow. Can I bring all my stuff? She asked. Every single thing, Troy promised. Okay, Lily said. But I get to paint my new room whatever color I want. Not what you pick. We laughed. Kids are resilient. They adapt. They move forward. Sometimes better than adults do. The next 2 months were a whirlwind. Packing. Selling our house. Transitioning ministry leadership. Saying goodbyes. Angela threw me a going away party. I can't believe you're really leaving, she said. Me neither, I admitted. Denver is lucky to have you. Or Denver is going to wonder why this crazy woman moved there, I joked. Nah, you'll be fine. You're Claire Bennett. You survive impossible things. The hardest goodbye was at the church. Dr. Ruth Anderson organized a special service, not to honor me, but to recognize what had happened, what we'd all learned, how we'd all changed. 3 years ago, this congregation made a terrible mistake, Dr. Anderson said. We allowed an accusation to become a verdict before any investigation happened. We hurt a family. We failed in our responsibility to seek truth and offer grace. Today, we want to acknowledge that failure. And we want to thank Claire Bennett for her grace, her forgiveness, and her commitment to making sure what happened to her doesn't happen to others. People stood and applauded. It felt surreal. 3 years ago, these same people had believed I was an adulteress. Now they were honoring me. After the service, people lined up to say goodbye. Some apologized again. Some thanked me for starting the ministry. Some just hugged me and cried. Vanessa didn't come. I didn't expect her to. But as I was leaving, I saw her car in the parking lot. She was sitting inside, watching. When our eyes met, she gave a small nod. I nodded back. That was our goodbye. No words needed. We'd both moved forward in our own ways. Her forward included guilt and isolation. Mine included purpose and community. Different paths from the same starting point. The drive to Denver took 3 days. Troy drove the moving truck with our furniture. I drove our car with Lily. We stopped at hotels along the way. Turned it into an adventure. Are we there yet? Lily asked every hour. Not yet, baby. But we're getting closer. On day 3, we crossed into Colorado. The mountains appeared on the horizon. Massive, snow-capped, beautiful. Mom, look. Lily pressed her face against the window. Real mountains. I smiled. Real mountains. Our new house was in a suburb called Lakewood. 3 bedrooms. Nice yard. Friendly neighborhood. It felt safe. Quiet. Normal. We spent the first week unpacking. Lily's room came together quickly. Troy set up his workshop in the garage. I created a small office for ministry work. On our second Sunday in Denver, we visited a local church. Small congregation. Maybe 200 people. The pastor was a woman in her 60s. Warm smile. Genuine welcome. First time visiting, she asked as we signed the guest book. Yes, I said. We just moved here from Charlotte. Welcome to Denver, she said. We're glad you're here. No one knew our story. No one stared. No one whispered. We were just another family. It felt like freedom. After the service, Troy said, that felt good. Normal. Yeah, I agreed. It did. Lily made friends quickly at her new school. Troy started his job and thrived. I continued running Truth Matters remotely, traveling occasionally for conferences, but mostly working from home. 6 months into our Denver life, I realized something. I was happy. Actually, genuinely happy. Not pretending. Not making the best of it. Actually happy. Troy and I were stronger. Our marriage had scars, but scars are just proof you survived something that tried to break you. We'd survived. We were still here. Still choosing each other. One evening, we were sitting on our back porch, watching the sunset over the mountains. Lily was inside, doing homework. Do you ever think about what happened? Troy asked. Back in Charlotte? Sometimes, I said. But not as much as I used to. It feels like it happened to someone else. Another version of me. Do you regret moving here? No. This was the right choice. For all of us. I'm sorry I doubted you, Troy said suddenly. I know I've apologized before. But I need to say it again. I'm sorry I didn't believe you immediately. I'm sorry I let you face that meeting alone. I'm sorry for all of it. I looked at him. Really looked at him. The man I'd built a life with. The man who'd failed me in a crucial moment, but had spent 3 years trying to make it right. I forgive you, I said. And I meant it. Finally, completely, I meant it. Thank you, Troy said. His eyes were wet. We're okay, I said. We're really okay. And we were. Truth Matters ministry continued to grow. We expanded to 15 states, helped over 2,000 people, connected victims with resources, changed policies in churches and organizations, made a real, measurable difference. But I was no longer the face of it. Other people stepped up, shared their stories, led support groups, became advocates. I'd done what I set out to do. I turned my pain into purpose, and now I was letting it grow beyond me. 5 years after Vanessa's accusation, I received an email from Brandon Cole. The subject line read, "An overdue apology." I almost deleted it, almost didn't read it, but curiosity won. "Claire, I hope this message finds you well. I've spent the past 5 years thinking about what happened, about my role in it, about how I failed you. I never responded to those fake messages. That's true. But I also never reported them, never told anyone, never protected you. I let Vanessa use you as a weapon against me, and I stayed silent. That silence allowed the accusations to happen. That silence made me complicit. I'm sorry. I'm deeply, profoundly sorry. I've left ministry. I don't think I'll ever go back. How can I preach about truth when I stood by and let lies destroy someone's life? I don't expect forgiveness, but I wanted you to know that I see my failure clearly now, and I live with it every day. Brandon." I read the email twice, felt the weight of his guilt, his regret, his acknowledgement of failure, and I realized something. I didn't need his apology either, just like I hadn't needed Vanessa's. Their guilt was theirs to carry. I'd already put mine down. I didn't respond to Brandon's email, just archived it and moved on with my day. That evening, Lily asked me a question that caught me off guard. "Mom, what made you brave?" "What do you mean, sweetheart?" "My history teacher says you're brave. She told the class about people who help other people even when it's hard. She said you do that. So what made you brave?" I thought about how to answer, about whether bravery was something you became or something you chose. "I wasn't born brave," I said finally. "Something bad happened to me, something that could have destroyed me, but I decided it wouldn't. I decided to use it to help other people instead. That decision made me brave." "Was it scary?" Lily asked. "Yes, very scary. Sometimes it still is. But you do it anyway." "I do it anyway." Lily nodded seriously. "When I grow up, I want to be brave like you. You already are, baby girl. You already are." Looking back at my own story, I see things clearly that I couldn't see while I was living through them. False accusations don't just hurt the accused. They damage entire communities. They create cultures of suspicion and fear. They make real victims afraid to come forward because they've seen how accusations are handled. Vanessa's lie didn't just hurt me. It hurt Troy, Lily, Grace Community Church, Brandon, everyone who believed her, everyone who doubted her, everyone caught in the middle. That's the real cost of false accusations. Not just the immediate damage, but the ripple effects that continue for years. But here's what I've learned. You can't control whether someone accuses you falsely. You can't prevent lies from being told about you, but you can control how you respond. You can choose to let it destroy you or define you. You can choose to become bitter or better. You can choose to hide or help. I chose to help, and that choice saved my life. If you're reading this and you've been falsely accused of something, please hear me. I know how it feels. I know the weight of trying to prove a negative. I know the exhaustion of defending yourself against lies. I know the loneliness of watching people you trusted believe the worst about you. But I also know this, you will survive. It might not feel like it right now. It might feel like you're drowning in accusations and doubt and fear. But you will survive. And when you do, you get to choose what comes next. You get to choose whether this destroys you or it transforms you. You get to choose whether you hide or whether you stand up and say, "This happened to me, but it doesn't define me." That's the choice I made. And it's the choice I hope you'll make too. Because truth matters. It really, truly matters. Not just in courtrooms and investigations, but in how we treat each other. How we give benefit of doubt. How we wait for evidence before forming opinions. How we recognize that accusations aren't convictions. Vanessa Cole taught me that lesson in the cruelest way possible. But she did teach it. And I've spent the past 5 years teaching it to others. That's my story. That's how a false accusation destroyed my life, and how I rebuilt it into something better. It's not a fairy tale ending. There's no perfect resolution, no complete healing, just forward progress, just choosing every day to keep going. And that's enough. It has to be enough. Because at the end of the day, we can't control what people say about us. We can only control who we actually are. And I know who I am. I'm Claire Bennett. I'm a wife, a mother, a survivor, an advocate. I'm the woman who was falsely accused and refused to let that accusation become her truth. And if you're facing false accusations right now, remember this. The accusation is not the truth. Evidence is truth. Time is truth. Character is truth. And eventually, if you hold on long enough, truth wins. It might not win quickly. It might not win cleanly, but it wins. Because truth matters. And so do you. So that's Claire's story. From being publicly destroyed by false accusations to building a ministry that's helped over 2,000 people facing the same nightmare. Talk about turning pain into purpose. Here's what I want you to take away from this. False accusations are devastating. They spread like wildfire. But truth, even when it takes time, eventually catches up. And when you survive something designed to destroy you, you become unshakable. Now I want to hear from you. If you were in Claire's position, would you have forgiven Troy for doubting you? Would you have confronted Vanessa at her home? And would you have moved to Denver for a fresh start or stayed to keep fighting? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If this story moved you, if it made you think, or if you know someone who's been falsely accused and needs to hear this message, please share this video. Hit that like button if you haven't already. It helps more people find stories like Claire's. And remember to subscribe to Revenge Served by Karma with Etta. We post new stories every week about betrayal, justice, and people who refuse to let their accusers win. Turn on that notification bell so you're here for the next one. Here's the truth. Accusations aren't convictions. Lies spread fast, but they don't last forever. And you, whoever you are, whatever you're facing, you're stronger than the lies people tell about you. Thanks for watching. I'm Etta, and I'll see you in the next story. Until then, remember, truth matters, and so do you.